His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa ratified and promulgated Law 5 of 2024 by adding a new article numbered 16 bis to Law 19 of 1976 regarding decorations, following the approval of the Shura Council and the Council of Representatives. Article 1 and new Article 16 shall be added to Decree Law 19 of 1976 regarding decorations. The text is as follows. A royal order shall revoke a decoration from its holder under any of the following cases. A final sentence convicting the directorate holder of a misendeavor or felony, commission of an act of a violation in the duty of loyalty and devotion to the country, serious breach of the duties of a public service role, disparagement of the medal, of undermining its significance and status. The revocation of the decoration necessitates its return along with the accompanying certificate. His Majesty the King also ratified and promulgated Law 6 of 2024, amending provisions of the Correction and Rehabilitation Institution Law promulgated by Law 18 of 2014, following the approval of the Shura Council and the Representatives Council. Article 1, the definition of visit in Article 1 of the Correction and Rehabilitation Institution Law promulgated by Law 18 of 2014 will be replaced with the text of Article 28 and 30 of the same law will be replaced with the following texts. Article 1, definition of visit. Visit, receiving visits by the inmate or pre-trial detainee from his or her relative or those authorized by the institution's administration. Article 18, government health institutions provide free health care for inmates and pre-trial detainees in coordination with the institution. The chairperson of the Supreme Council of Health, in coordination with the minister, shall issue a decision regarding the provision regulating this. Article 30, the center's physician must conduct periodic medical examinations on inmates and pre-trial detainees and administer the necessary treatment to them. He may refer inmates and pre-trial detainees to public or private hospitals if medically necessary, in coordination with relevant authorities. The chairperson of the Supreme Council of Health, in coordination with the minister, shall issue a decision regarding the provision regulating this. Article 2, the following definition shall be added to Article 1 of the Correction and Rehabilitation Institution Law promulgated by Law 18 of 2014. Governmental health institution, the health entity under the Supreme Council of Health. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa chaired the weekly cabinet meeting at Gdaybiya Palace. The cabinet commended the outcomes of the state visit by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, President of the Arab Summit to China, at the invitation of President Xi Jinping. The cabinet further commended the visit's outcomes, which has bolstered the comprehensive strategic partnership between Bahrain and China. The cabinet noted the significance of the official discussions held between His Majesty the King and President Xi Jinping in regards to Bahrain's declaration, which was issued during the 33rd regular session of the Council of the League of Arab States at the summit level, that covered regional and international issues. The cabinet further noted the importance of the signing of agreement and memoranda of understanding, which will further strengthen Bahrain-China relations. The cabinet noted the efforts made by His Majesty the King as President of the Arab Summit in conducting bilateral meetings with various country leaders to discuss the outcomes of the summit and its ambitious initiatives to enhance regional stability and prosperity. The cabinet also commended His Majesty the King's speech at the opening session of the 10th ministerial meeting of the China-Arab States Cooperation Forum. In his address, His Majesty called for coordinated efforts and mobilization of support for lasting peace. His Majesty the King also called for swift convening of an international peace conference to support the legitimate right of the Palestinian people, the establishment of their national state, the cessation of the devastating war on the Gaza Strip, and the facilitation of humanitarian aid delivery to civilians. The cabinet commended the outcomes of the meeting of the 54th session of the Council of Arab Ministers of Information hosted by Bahrain under the patronage of His Majesty the King. During the session, members unanimously approved the proposal by Bahrain regarding media mechanisms to be used to address initiatives presented by His Majesty the King during the Arab Summit. His Royal Highness directed relevant entities to support Bahraini citizens participating in the Hajj pilgrimage by providing them with the necessary services. He commended Saudi Arabia's commitment under the leadership of the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, and with the support of the Saudi Crown Prince and Prime Minister, His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, to ensure a seamless 2024 Hajj season. The Cabinet extended its thanks to all educational and administrative staff for their ongoing efforts to support education in the Kingdom and guarantee outstanding academic achievements for students this year. The Cabinet then congratulated the newly appointed Crown Prince of Kuwait, His Highness Sheikh Sabah Khalid Al Hamad Al Sabah, wishing him success in his duties to serve Kuwait and its citizens under the leadership of the Emir of Kuwait, His Highness Sheikh Mish'al Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah. In recognition of World Environment Day, the Cabinet stressed the importance of enhancing environmental security through innovative initiatives, plans and solutions to preserve the environment and sustain its resources. The Cabinet also expressed appreciation for the initiative by the President of the United States, Joe Biden, regarding a ceasefire in Gaza. The Cabinet called on all parties to respond seriously and positively to this initiative, viewing it as an opportunity to permanently end the war, release hostages and detainees, rebuild Gaza, and expand the unimpeded flow of humanitarian aid to civilians. The Cabinet noted His Majesty the King's call to swiftly convene an international peace conference to support the legitimate right of the Palestinian people to establish their national state, which Bahrain has expressed its willingness to host, stemming from its belief in the importance of serving at the core issue of the region's development and stability. The Cabinet then approved the following: a memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Financial and Economic Affairs and Fiscal Balance regarding the financial agreement of Iskan Bank. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs on the government's response to 2 laws and 3 proposals submitted by the Council of Representatives. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs regarding 3 MOUs between the National Center for Financial Investigation at the Ministry of Interior in Bahrain and its counterpart in Nepal, Nigeria and Sri Lanka regarding cooperation in exchanging information related to money laundering, predicate crimes and terrorism financing. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs on the agreement to host the 9th UNWTO World Forum on Gastronomy Tourism in 2024. And a memorandum submitted by the Ministry of Municipalities Affairs and Agriculture regarding the acquisition of several properties for public urban development. The Cabinet also reviewed a memorandum submitted by the Minister of Foreign Affairs regarding topics on the agenda of the 160th session of the Ministerial Council of the GCC. The Cabinet then took note of the following ministerial reports: the visit of His Majesty the King to China, the outcomes of the participation in the ministerial meeting on efforts to implement the two-state solution, the participation in the 91st General Session of the World Assembly of Delegates to the World Organization for Animal Health, the participation in the 27th meeting of the Municipal Affairs Ministers in the GCC, the participation in the 60th Regular Session of the Council of Arab Health Ministers and the 77th World Health Assembly, the participation in the GCC ASEAN Economic and Investment Conference, the outcomes of the 27th meeting of Information Ministers of the GCC, the 54th session of the Arab Information Ministers Council meeting and the 16th edition of the Gulf Radio and Television Festival, the official visit of the Minister of Industry and Commerce to China and Hong Kong, and the outcomes of the participation in the Arab Youth Media Forum. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa met with the Managing Director and Group Chief Executive Officer of M42, Hassan Jassim Inwais, at Ghdaybiya Palace. His Royal Highness highlighted the long-standing relations between Bahrain and the UAE, which continue to thrive under the steadfast support of His Majesty the King and the President of the UAE, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. His Royal Highness underscored the importance of advancing bilateral and strategic cooperation to create promising investment opportunities and support various vital sectors benefiting both countries and their peoples. He highlighted the importance of the health sector, noting the Kingdom's commitment to further strengthening partnerships and encouraging investments within the sector to enhance the efficiency of health services in line with modern development and technologies compatible with future needs through innovation and the use of unique medical and data-centric technologies. His Royal Highness emphasized the importance of exchanging expertise and best practices between the two countries across all sectors, particularly in the health sector, to achieve shared goals and aspirations. For his part, Hassan Al-Inwais expressed appreciation to His Royal Highness for his commitment to strengthening Bahrain-UAE cooperation, particularly in the health sector, wishing Bahrain continued progress and prosperity. The Minister of Finance and National Economy, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, also attended the meeting. The Interior Minister General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa received the commander of the U.S. Coast Guard Admiral Linda Fagan in the presence of the Chief of Public Security Lieutenant General Tariq bin Hassan Al Hassan. The minister welcomed the visit of the commander and praised the strategic partnership that brings together Bahrain and the U.S. within the framework of the working to achieve common interests. He stressed the importance of strengthening areas of cooperation in the field of training and increasing capabilities, especially in the field of maritime security, noting that the development and modernization strategy aims to provide the Coast Guard with the latest equipment, strategies, technologies and training programs to provide the best security services to seafarers. The two sides then discussed ways to develop security cooperation and coordination and joint work between the two countries in the areas of maritime security and enhancing regional stability. His Majesty King Abdullah II ibn al-Hussein of Jordan received the credentials of Sheikh Khalifa bin Abdullah bin Hamad Al Khalifa as Ambassador of Bahrain to Jordan, and the official reception ceremony took place on this occasion. The ambassador conveyed the greetings of His Majesty the King and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to the Jordanian King and their wishes to His Majesty for good health and happiness, and to Jordan and its brotherly people further progress and prosperity. His Majesty King Abdullah II instructed the ambassador to convey his greetings to His Majesty the King and His Royal Highness, expressing the aspiration of Jordan to strengthen fraternal relations and joint bilateral cooperation between the two brotherly countries in various fields. He wished the ambassador success in his new work duties. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs affirmed that Bahrain appreciates the initiative of the U.S. President Joe Biden regarding the ceasefire in Gaza. The ministry called on all parties to respond seriously and positively to this initiative, for its being an opportunity to permanently end the war, release hostages and detainees, rebuild the Strip, and deliver humanitarian aid to civilians. The ministry added that Bahrain welcomes all initiatives and efforts aimed at an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza and addressing the catastrophic humanitarian situation in the Strip. It added that this is in line with the decisions of the 33rd Arab Summit hosted by the Kingdom and the call for holding an international peace conference in the Middle East that would lead to the establishment of an independent state and safe Palestinian state. The Women Business and the Law 2024 WBL 2024 report issued by the World Bank shows that Bahrain has achieved a significant increase of 30.6% in the WBL 2.0 index compared to 2018. The report covers 190 economies and evaluates laws and regulations that influence women's economic empowerment. More in this report.
Bahraini women enjoy their full rights, which has provided them with many opportunities to excel in various sectors, locally, regionally, and internationally. The kingdom was able to achieve a significant increase in the Women, Business, and the Law report by over 30%, scoring a perfect 100% in laws affecting women's pay and the size of a woman's pension. The pay indicator saw the highest increase of 100%, while the workplace and pension indicators rose by 50%. The marriage and entrepreneurship indicators also increased by 20% and 25% respectively. The score of the report's expert opinion for Bahrain is 92.5%. Bahrain achieved a perfect 100 score on expert opinions related to freedom of movement, women's work location, women starting and running a business, women's property and inheritance, and others. These results affirm Bahrain's distinctiveness as part of the comprehensive development process led by His Majesty the King with the support of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. They also reflect the openness, civilization, and awareness that characterize Bahraini society, contributing to the kingdom's advanced status and gender balance achievements. The efforts of the Supreme Council for Women have also played a key role in advancing Bahraini women, consolidating equal opportunities, and integrating women's needs into development.